Almighty God, creator and ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our counsels and actions, so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, peace, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria. Amen. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend their unity and uphold their honor and glory. So help me God. Petition. I start with my good friend who occupies two chairmen. If he will be willing to introduce himself properly, I will yield the floor to him.
I don't also intend to take over the chairmanship of the chairman of petition, Joe. Mr. Speaker, before me here is a petition from Soinde Sonaki and Associates, signed by Chief Alex Ara, the CDC chairman of Oko, in Ndokwa East local government area, Chief Richard Obi, Abuja CDC chairman, Mr. Emeka Onyema, Akara Obodo President General, and Chief J.O. Agbanasi, Akara TT community leader, against Nigerian petroleum upstream regulators and OML 26 Settler Asset Management Team, against them. And second petition, Mr. Speaker, is against disobedience to court order by Nigerian Navy and Central Bank of Nigeria, an outcry for urgent intervention to end the age-long impunity against Mr. Isaac Okpanachi. Mr. Speaker, with the leave of the House, oblige me the privilege to lay this petition. Thank you.
Please go ahead. The chair petitions. Please go ahead.
Each time I rise to speak on present petition, Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you it is an honor because the 10th Assembly have given answers to several questions by Nigerians. And I, having the privilege to be in the petition committee, we have solved many problems to the credit of the chairman of the petition committee. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to tell you that each time we present petition, Nigerian is we are feeling the pains of Nigeria. And this house, which is the people's house, has come to be the last hope of common Nigeria. In the light of that, Mr. Speaker, I have several petitions, but I just mentioned their names and present it. Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleagues, the first petition is from Agro, petition against Port Harcourt Electricity Distribution Company on fair treatment and high cost of bills. The second petition is from O.S. Oyebo, petition to investigate the smuggling of Chinese nationals for illegal mining in Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, I have a petition from Advanced Coating Technology over issue of non-payment for work done, to investigate non-payment of money spent by Seji Engineering on OM100 before that was sold to them. Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleagues, I have a petition against the Chief Commissioner and Management of Public Complaint Commission.
Is there another petition?
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
So how many have you now moved?
Mr. Speaker, I have moved 8.
Oh, what a record.
So, Mr. Speaker and distinguished colleagues, the prayers are all engrafted in their petition. And without taking your time, I seek your leave to present this petition. I so moved. To place.
Please go ahead.
I hereby present a petition signed by one Mr. Jacob Zaman, bordering on the trespass and illegal sale of his land by some staff of the Kaduna Polytechnic and others. I hereby seek your leave, sir, to present the petition.
Please go ahead. Any more petitions?
Mr. Speaker, I have a petition here from the Legal Aid Council in respect of a missing person in Abuja. This missing person is from my constituency. So they are petitioning that they should carry out a cavalry investigation into the case of this missing person. With the leave of Mr. Speaker, I would like to present this petition before the House. Thank you.
Please go ahead.
I rise to present this petition from the chambers of Dr. O.J. Onoja, SAN and Associates. The petition is against the Inspector General of Police, DIG Frank Uba, SP Pantani and Yaro of SWAT, Area 3, Abuja, under 4 CID for violation of the restraining order of court, intimidation, oppression, suppression, criminal conspiracy, and undue interference in the civil matter for personal and self-interest in favor of Anna Rock Global Services Limited. I seek the leave of this assembly to present this petition. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Please go ahead.
I have a petition from the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, Kaduna Polytechnic Chapter. And the petition is against the management of Kaduna Polytechnic for illegal sales of federal government properties, Kaduna Polytechnic staff quarters by the management of Kaduna Polytechnic, non-compliance to regularize the appointment of engineer technology staff employed in 2019, and related matters. I seek the leave of the Honorable Speaker. Please lay this petition. Thank you.
Please go ahead.
Petition from Landmark Group. Just a petition regarding the Lagos Calabar Coastal Roads construction on the prevent on tourism businesses along coastal roads right of way.
Okay, please go ahead and proceed. Go ahead and lay your report. Okay.
With me here is a petition from the Crystal Fat Attorney's Chambers on the subject matter of petition against a petroleum company and the Nigerian midstream downstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission over their refusal to replace damaged properties of the victims of December 7th, 2022 fire incidents at a filling station located here in Abuja. With the permission of the Speaker and the leave of the House, I wish to read the petition.
Mr. Speaker, colleagues, I rise this morning to present a petition titled Unlawful Suspension from Nigerian Army, an appeal for reinstatement on behalf of my constituents, by name Mr. Udo Ekong Inibere. Mr. Udo Ekong Inibere joined the Nigerian Army in 2017 with the registration force number 17/NA/76/4721. Mr. Speaker, the two prayers that are highlighted by the petitioner is first, he prays that this Honorable House should intervene for him to be reinstated in the Nigerian Army. And secondly, is equally praying that the Nigerian Army administration should unblock his account for him to have access to the account again. Mr. Speaker, colleagues, with the leave of the House, I pray to tender this petition. Thank you.
Please go ahead. All petitions are referred to the Committee on Public Petition for further legislative action. Honorable Kama, please can you go ahead?
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this is absurd. We've never invited these persons before. This House has never had a meeting with these persons before. We have no interface with this person. And these persons woke up one morning and decide to degrade this house to the extent of saying we demanded bribe from them, which nobody, I know, I believe, I can swear on anything that we've never had an interface with them, so that shouldn't have arisen in the first instance. I'm seeking that the leadership of this house make this a strong word out there, that this house can never allow itself to be embarrassed or talked down on by anybody or any persons in any way. If you've done anything wrong in this country and they come after you, you go squarely and face the law and stop bringing the house into it. Bringing the house to disrepute is a very serious crime and should never be taken lightly, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. In view of this, I hereby move a motion suggest that this house maybe invite this person to come and tell us whoever demanded this bribe from him from this house, so that this will be put to rest once and for all. I so suggest, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Your observation is noted. The clerk, please take note. We need to use whatever media available to us to refute this allegation of bribery against the House. Whatever action we need to take to ensure that the general public is guided accordingly, that nothing like that has ever happened. No committee of the House has ever engaged with this man, and no such kind of claim has been pushed forward. Please take note and let's take the right actions accordingly and with dispatch. Thank you. I will take you a little bit back. An announcement coming from the clerk. It reads as follows. This is to inform honorable members that in line with our commitment to ensure both federal presence and women representation in the ongoing constitutional review exercise, it is the considered view of the leadership to include the following into the committee. They include all zonal caucus leaders to participate in advisory capacity, a representative of people living with disabilities to be named later, Honorable Zainab Gimba, Honorable Princess Miriam Odinika Onoa, Honorable Regina Akume, Honorable Obara Adetola Kafilat. All these are also made members of the Constitutional Review Committee. Thank you. It is signed by Announcer Honorable Abdullah Halims, Deputy House Leader for the leadership. Honorable Halims, please can you move that the House suspend its relevant rules to allow us to take more motions on public importance?
I hereby move that under Rule 8(5), the House do move to take matters of urgent public importance. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I rise to second the motion that the House do step down relevant rules of the House to enable us to take more than 3 matters of urgent public importance. I so second.
Those against, you say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, it's my pleasure to recognize Honorable Ahmadu Usman Jaha, if he's around, to move his motion.
Mr. Speaker, I seek refuge from the provisions of Order 8 through 5 to bring up a matter of urgent public importance concerning the need for urgent restoration of national grid to Northeast sub-region and upgradation of transmission conductors in the region for effective and efficient electricity supply. I so move. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable.
Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved that this motion is important, that we should consider it as so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. The second leg.
I rise to second the second leg of the motion, Mr. Speaker. I so second. Thank you.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Jaha, please proceed.
The Northeast sub-region, as we are all aware, has been experiencing prolonged electricity supply challenges due to attack by non-state actors and poor state of the transmission infrastructure, resulting in frequent power outage and disruptions to economic activities and daily life of its residents. Whereas the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, plays a crucial role in the transmission of electricity across the country and is responsible for ensuring a stable and reliable national grid system. Whereas the current state of transmission conductors in the Northeast sub-region is inadequate and outdated, leading to transmission losses and inefficiencies in the supply of electricity to the region. Whereas the lack of reliable electricity supply hinders economic development, industrial growth, and social well-being in the Northeast sub-region, impacting the lives of millions of residents. The House do resolve as follows. 1, the House urgently calls on the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, to prioritize the restoration of the national grid to the Northeast sub-region to ensure uninterrupted electricity supply to its residents. 2, the TCN should expedite the upgrading of transmission conductors in the Northeast sub-region to improve the efficiency and reliability of electricity supply in the area. 3, the federal government should allocate adequate resources and support to TCN to facilitate the restoration of the national grid and the upgrading of transmission conductors in the Northeast sub-region. 4, the relevant regulatory bodies should monitor and oversee the implementation of these actions to ensure compliance and timely completion of the project. And finally, the motion should take effect immediately upon approval by this House and shall be communicated to the House Committees on Power, Northeast Development Commission, and Legislative Compliance for prompt action to save lives and investment in the region. I so move.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague. I so second.
Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committees on Power, Northeast Development Commission, and Legislative Compliance for further legislative action. The next motion is coming from Honorable Kalejaye Adeboye Paul. If Honorable Paul is around, please kindly rise and move your motion.
I rise this morning and come to the House under Order 8-5 to allow me raise a motion of urgent importance regarding the urgent call for provision of comprehensive medical relief materials and financial support for the victim of Alaba Lane in Ala-Abiagba of Ajeromi Federal Constituency. I seek the leave of the House. Thank you.
Seconder to the first leg. Honorable Miriam.
I rise this morning to second the first leg of this motion as moved by my brother. I so second.
Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. The second leg. Nobody from this side. Oh, Honorable Doctor, please can you go ahead?
I rise to second the second leg of this motion. I so second.
Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Please go ahead.
I rise to move a motion of urgent importance regarding the tragic incident that occurred in Alaba Lane of Ala-Abiagba in Ajeromi Federal Constituency. Note that the tragic incident occurred in this venue, and as I speak with you today, the tragic incident of a gas explosion that led to a fire outbreak had claimed over 10 lives. and many are still in Bagada General Hospital at the Trauma Center. Also note that the gas leakage occurred and destroyed properties, tricycles, and left many injured. Aware that the swift intervention of the Federal Fire Service and the Lagos State Fire Service provided succor and they were able to put off the fire. However, many of the victims were initially rushed to the General Hospital at Jeromi and later on moved to Bagada General Hospital at the Trauma Center. Concerned that the survivor also suffered severe injuries and are currently still at the Trauma Center. Worried that as at the time when my delegation visited the Bagada Trauma Center, deaths were being recorded almost on a daily basis. Resolved to direct the National Emergency Management Agency to conduct a comprehensive investigation into the immediate and the remote causes of this gas explosion. Urge NEMA to support the efforts of the Lagos State government in ensuring that the few survivors of that incident are moved to intensive care units for medical attention. Further implore NEMA to provide financial support to the families of the deceased and for those who lost their properties. Finally, implore the House to observe a minute silence for the over deaths that have been recorded so far and ask the legislative compliance to please ensure compliance. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Doctor.
I rise to second the motion as moved by my honorable colleague from Ajerovin Felodu. Thank you.
Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committee on NEMA and legislative compliance for further legislative action. Colleagues, shall we rise for a minute silence? May the soul of the departed rest in peace. Is Honorable Engineer Dominic Ifeanyi Okafor around? Please kindly rise and move your motion.
I rise this morning to move a motion on the urgent need to investigate the security breach leading to the escape of Binance executive Nadeem Anijawala from the custody of the National Security Advisor. Let me also add that only a few days ago, precisely on 30th April 2024, in Seattle, United States of America, the founder of this cryptocurrency exchange company, Mr. Zhao, was sentenced to 4 months imprisonment after pleading guilty of violating U.S. laws against money laundering laws of the United States of America. I therefore urge the Honorable House to invoke the provisions of Order 8-5 to enable me to present this motion.
Any seconder to the first leg, Honorable Ize?
I rise this morning to second the very important motion as moved by my colleague. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable, let me recognize you this time around. Go ahead and second the second leg of the motion.
I rise this morning to second the second leg of the motion. I so second.
Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Dominic, please proceed.
Okay. Motion on urgent need to investigate the security breach of leading to the escape of Binance executive Nadeem Anjarwalla. That the Federal Republic of Nigeria arrested and detained Nadeem Anjarwalla, an executive of cryptocurrency exchange company, Binance, on February 26, 2024, for alleged complicity of the company in money laundering and terrorism financing. Also notes that the two Binance executives were billed to appear in court on April 4, 2024, to answer to the alleged crimes against Nigeria before the security breach occurred, which led to the escape of one of the company's executives in a very scandalous dimension. Honorable colleagues, concerned that persons suspected to have committed such atrocious crimes against the state of Nigeria, with already overburdened security challenges, were kept in a guest house in Abuja instead of lawful custody of the Department of State Service or any other approved custodial facility. Further worried that the escape of the Binance executive from the office of the National Security Advisor using a smuggled passport is, to say the least, most disappointing, embarrassing, and disturbing as it portrays the porosity of the security architecture of the country to the world. Disturbed that weeks after the unfortunate escape and inability of the security forces to arrest Nadeem Anjarwalla, the Kenyan police arrested him on 22nd April 2024 as the International Crime Police Organization moves to extradite him to Nigeria as soon as possible to face the allegation leveled against the company. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, the House therefore resolves to invite the National Security Advisor to explain the circumstances that led to such despicable escape of a high-profile suspect from his office. 2, to mandate the National Security Advisor to hand over the investigation of its personnel involved in the escape of Nadeem Anjarwalla to the Department of State Services, as it cannot be a judge in its own case. Number 3, mandate the Director General of the Department of State Services to take over the investigation and prosecution of personnel found complicit in the escape of Mr. Nadeem Anjarwalla. And last but not the least, mandate the Committees on Financial Crimes, National Security and Intelligence, and Interior to ensure compliance and report to the House in 2 weeks. I hereby move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Amarachi.
I humbly rise to second this all-important motion that borders on our public perception as a country, laid by my brother and colleague, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I so second.
Those against should say nay. You have an amendment? Okay, go ahead.
The amendment I'm proposing is to remove prayer 1 and 2 and replace them with to ask the relevant committee of the House to investigate the matter.
I stand to second the amendment made by my senior colleague.
Those in support of this amendment should say aye. Aye. Those against should say nay. I think the ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committees on Financial Crimes, National Security and Intelligence, Interior, and Police, right? I think it's police you added, right? And police, right? Relevant committees or not? Which relevant committees? You have to be specific now. Okay, NIA is already under
Police
national
and
security.
NIA, yes.
So police is the only addition,
To
right?
investigate the matter.
Thank you very much. Yes, or Abuja.
I don't want a decision to be taken while I'm sitting here without knowing the content of the amendment. What actually happened is he called for the deletion of prayer 1 and 2 which constitute most important part of that particular prayer, and set relevant committees blindly without specifying. So prayer 1 is that particular issue should be investigated thoroughly. 2, excuse me, this is what he said. Prayer 2.
Please allow him to talk.
Prayer 2 is for the Office of the National Security Advisor to hands off the investigation and hand over to DSS to do proper, because Office of the National Security Advisor cannot be a judge in their own case. I think this is it. So let us take decision. Let us take decision.
Thank you very much for your explanation.
Thank you, sir.
We have been able to establish that it is only police committee that has not been added. True, since Financial Crimes Committee is the lead committee in this investigation, I think there will be no any issue of interference from DSS or any of the national security committees. So I think it is in order. And thirdly, you know, we have already ruled, but we have noted your observation for future. Thank you. So, honorable colleagues, those in support of this motion as amended should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Our next motion is coming from Honorable Dr. Billy T. Osawaru. If he's around, please kindly rise and move your motion.
Mr. Speaker, I have a motion of urgent national importance on the need to have police or security presence in schools across the nation and to address the worsening security situation in the country. Mr. Speaker, I still stand on the order 8 through 5. To enable me move this important motion, Mr. Speaker, I seek the leave of the House and Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Order to the first leg. Yes, Honorable, please go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I rise this morning to second the motion ably moved by my colleague, and I so second.
Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. The second leg. Yes, Honorable.
I rise to second the second leg of the motion that this matter is urgent enough for us to hear it. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable, please proceed.
The worrying rate of kidnappings and wanton destruction of lives and properties across the schools in the country since 2014, to the extent that children or students are no longer safe even in their schools, especially in places like Borno, Nasarawa, Niger, Zamfara, Katsina, and Kaduna states. Most recently, on Thursday, 7th of March 2024, about 287 school children were kidnapped from a government-owned school in Kaduna State's Kuriga town. Before then, on Friday, 22nd of September 2023, about 24 students of the Federal University of Gusau in Zamfara State were kidnapped by bandits. It did not end there because there were many other such incidents in the past. The House also knows that in Nigeria, policemen are not guarding most of our schools, despite the level of attacks frequently experienced by the schools, and the ones in existence are not sufficient in manpower and equipment. Hence, the level losses incurred anytime such attacks occur. If no drastic measure is taken to curb this escalating insecurity situation in the country and in our schools, the entire schools may end up being shut down due to activities of these miscreants and hoodlums. The House is aware that government owes the people the responsibility of providing their welfare and security. So it is incumbent on the government to fulfill its obligation to the people in this regard. Mr. Speaker, the House is also aware that due to the directive of Mr. President and the relentless efforts of our security agencies, the school children who were victims of March 24 attack have long been united with their families, which is very commendable. But trauma and shocking experiences, they must have been true, will forever be in their minds and may likely give them that phobia of going to school again. Mr. Speaker, the House is worried that based on the report of a group called the Save the Children, More than 1,680 school children have been kidnapped in Nigeria since the 2014 abduction of 276 schoolgirls from Chibok in Borno State and counting. The fear of attacks has stopped many children from ever attending school again. In addition to the abduction, Mr. Speaker, over 180 school children were killed and nearly 90 injured in 70 attacks between April 2014 and December 2022. Mr. Speaker, with an estimated 60 school staff kidnapped and 14 killed. 25 school buildings were reportedly destroyed during that period. The majority of these attacks took place in northwest Nigeria, where we had about 49 attacks, followed by north-central Nigeria, where we had about 11 attacks. Mr. Speaker, the House is concerned that in Nigeria, the number of out-of-school children, as per the report from the UNICEF, was put at 10.5 million, Mr. Speaker. I repeat, 10.5 million. Before the effects of the conflict, humanitarian crisis and COVID-19 pandemic were felt. One wonders at present what the figure will be due to the effect of these numerous attacks in different schools across the nation. Mr. Speaker, the House is very disturbed that the embarrassing situation has continued to adversely affect the educational sector and Nigerian economy in several ways, calling for all-inclusive approach to arrest this situation. The House resolves to, number one, mandate the House Committee on Army, Air Force, Police Affairs and Defense to interface with all security chiefs to identify how best to secure our schools and profile immediate lasting solutions to the security challenges in the education sector, especially around the troubled states of Borno, Nasarawa, Niger, Zamfara, Katsina, and Kaduna states. Number two, Mr. Speaker, mandate schools to engage the services of private security outfits to complement the efforts of the security agencies in securing the schools. Then, the last but not the least, Mr. Speaker, is to call on Nigerian clerics, traditional rulers, National Orientation Agency, and civil society organizations to contribute towards value reorientation and social reawakening, especially to the out-of-school children still living in fear. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise this morning to second this dynamic motion moved by Honorable Billy, a High Billy Chief. I so second. Mr. Speaker, my amendment is in prayer one. Since it is a security issue, the way how we arrange the security, architecture, army, air force, and what have you. So we must have a lead committee. So I expect him in his prayer one to say that defense should be the lead committee of army, police affairs, navy, and air force. That's my amendment, Mr. Speaker. I so move.
Any seconder to this amendment? Honorable Abdul Karim.
I rise to second the amendment ably moved by my colleague, Honorable Maki. I so second.
Those against you say nay. Honorable colleagues, don't forget that we have agreed on this particular matter, that any committee that is supposed to be listed should be listed first before other committees, so that there will be no conflict as to who would be leading. And since we also have in our standing rules that in any meeting where committees of the armed forces are going to meet together, Committee on Defense shall take the lead. So I think it is only in order for us to recognize that. Internal security, pardon? Well, even in the event that there is a meeting between police, internal security, and other armed forces, I think it has been the tradition of this House that Committee on Defense, once it is mentioned, is given the lead role. So it is not something new. Even from tradition of the House, that's how it is. So I want to beg the indulgence of members to please allow the amendment of Honorable Maki to see the light of the day. So I put the question again with your kind permission. Those in support of this amendment should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Those in support of this motion as amended should say aye. Those, pardon? We didn't put the question? We didn't? Those in support of this motion as amended should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. This motion is referred to the Committees on Defense, Army, Air Force, Police Affairs, and National Security, right? For further legislative action. Thank you. The next motion is coming from Right Honorable Abdullah Ibrahim Ali Halims. If he's around, please kindly rise and move your motion.